What is going on, fellow fans of Clash of Clans? Super excited to be bringing you, yes, this is it, the much-awaited Darian, community manager for Clash of Clans Supercell interview, talking about 2020, what updates we might have in store, quality of life improvements, and so much more. So let's get into part one. I'll put on my radio interviewer voice, and we will get this thing started. Darian, thank you so much for joining me on the channel one more time. So excited to have you. First time I've had a chance to talk to you in 2020.
As always, Galadon, it is a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you for having me, and it's always great to be back.
Well, I mean, and Clash of Clans is back, which is great to see as well. The game is so active right now, and so many players starting new accounts as well. You know, I've been playing that No Clash Clash series, which has been a lot of fun. But, you know, there's still this buzz about updates. Everybody loved the Town Hall 13 update, and now I feel like it's been a few months, it's been a couple months since that update dropped, and obviously nobody's really thinking towards the next Town Hall content yet, but we are, as a community, I think, starting to get a little bit antsy about what could be coming this year, what could be coming in the next Clash updates, and I just thought I'd leave you kind of an open question and say if there's anything you could tell us what you guys have in store for 2020.
Well, let me stop you there for a second. You said Clash is back. We never went anywhere.
Well, hey, no, trust me. I agree. I've never gone anywhere either. But it did have its like best month in the history of the game in December. So, you know, just saying, it's crazy how active it is. And trust me, yes, obviously, because here I am almost 7 years into making videos about Clash. But I hear other people saying this. So let me change the quote. Other people say Clash is back. We agree. Clash never left.
So, we kind of touch on that. We never ever on the Clash team discuss numbers, whether it's revenue or amount of people playing, or these things are never our guiding star in the game. We want Clash to stand on its own merit based on the quality of the game. So that's why we never talk about like, oh, we had this many, millions of players doing this or doing that. Because, if we see the game trending on the App Store, we figured that was an update well done because more people are playing. So we want those kind of content to stand on its own. And the reason why I mention that is, with the Town Hall 13 release, it's interesting that, Town Hall 13 is for such high-level endgame users,
right?
But it saw one of our highest activity months in years. So this has been a culmination of everything building up to, magic items and so forth, like speeding updates, and we saw a huge number of people who upgraded to, up to, 11, 12, 13. So our initial strategy when we release the magic items is working. It is getting people motivated to upgrade their villages to higher town hall levels. So what does that mean for the future? When we did the Clan War Leagues, I think I might have said this on your show a few episodes ago, where I said, we always have an overarching strategy for our content releases. So Town Hall 12, Clan Games, Season Pass, and Magic Items. There we go. Okay. Magic Items was all leading up to releasing new endgame content for people to use in the Clan War League. So it was all to create a competitive environment, and we are building that roadmap over the last couple of years. Do you remember me saying that?
That sounds vaguely familiar. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Definitely remember that.
So Town Hall 13 is the start of our next kind of overarching strategy for where we want Clash of Clans to go this year and the next year. What that is, we can't really reveal it quite yet. But our goal is to release a new update or new content release every quarter this year. It's a goal, not a promise. And I want to be very, very clear on that. That is our intention. But I know someone's like, oh, you promised us an update every quarter. If we slip, it's because we're still working on it.
Okay.
But we do have something planned for the first quarter.
Oh, good. Okay. So that is super specific yet super vague, Darian. I have to say,
I'm getting good at that.
Yeah. So you're saying Town Hall 12 was related to all these the passes and magic items and things like that. So you're saying the Town Hall 13 has a whole new direction, kind of, or new other
Kind of.
features? I mean, you're talking about that are going to be added to the game?
Yes. How do I do this vaguely and still inspire excitement? So one of the things that we see with Clash of Clans, and it's something that we've always talked about for the last couple of years, is what makes Clash of Clans. What is the core thing of Clash of Clans, and that's the clan itself. So if there were no clans, it would just basically be a solo strategy game.
Right.
And it would not have longevity, the social dynamics, the lasting friendships, the families that people have made. I wouldn't even know my wife. And all because of this social interaction of this game. So with that in mind, there's a lot of things that we've talked about, like quality of life improvements that we've wanted to add to the game based around the clan. Now, before people start, looking for meaning or, wish listing on what that could mean, we are going to be making a lot of quality of life improvements over the course of the year. I created a thread on the forums asking, what quality of life changes do people want to see in the game. Some of them are going to be low-hanging fruit that we can address easily. Some of them are going to be very complex. But within this first update, you're going to see a lot of very, very requested quality of life improvement changes, along with some pretty unexpected new content.
Well, that sounds exciting. So, okay, and that's okay. So I see where you're headed with this, and I'm definitely a fan. I saw that thread. I have read a lot of the questions and comments on that thread, and I was actually going to cover some of those today in these questions. But okay,
cool.
So that's cool. We're looking forward to new stuff, just as cool as magic items and clan games and season pass, but different.
I would say, the overarching goal of this year's production roadmap is very ambitious and very different.
Oh, I love it.
And if we can get it done, it's going to be something that radically alters some very fundamental parts of the game. Again, people are going to try to read into that where they want, and I don't want people to think like, oh, it means this, oh, it's going to mean that, it's going to mean this. We have a very, very specific objective in mind, and I don't want people to think like, Clash of Clans is going to radically change how we do clan wars or how you build your base. It's
right.
Like the core thing that makes Clash of Clans is still going to be there.
Okay.
We're just going to be adding some really cool, interesting dynamics to the game.
Well, I tell you what, I am reading into it right now. And so my first questions I was going to ask you had to do with the fact of the end of global and the clan recruitment tool. So I'm wondering if maybe kind of what you're talking about could be alluding to the fact that those things have changed and the clan recruitment tool is new. We don't have global anymore. So maybe it's something along those lines of changes in clans or something like that. But
not necessarily. If it were a change to the recruitment tool, I would just blatantly just say it. And admittedly, and I've even said this on the forums and on Reddit, we could have done a better job of deploying and rolling out the recruitment tool. We had an objective of wanting to kill global chat, but we knew that we couldn't kill global chat until we had a recruitment tool in place. And in hindsight, we do wish that we would have kept the recruitment tool in the game along with global chat and just made sure the recruitment tool was working the way we wanted before we killed the global chat instead of doing them both simultaneously.
I see. That makes sense.
Lesson learned, but it's not going to bring global chat back, no matter how many times it's requested or how many times Anna @s me on Twitter. I don't know if you ever saw it. I don't know if you saw that thread.
I think so.
Where she said something on the Clash of Clans official channel saying, what feature do you miss from Clash of Clans? And everybody asking for global chat @Darian will haunt you in your dreams. And the number of people who asked for global chat adding me on that was just nightmarish.
Oh boy. Yeah. So yeah, and it definitely has been a popular question and demand in my videos and streams and on the street. And yeah, so and we know it's not coming back, but now I did have another question related to that, and that is there a possibility that there would ever be an integration between Clash of Clans and some other app or chat platform, or like Discord or something like that, that would make it easier.
We've talked about this on the team, and it would depend on how easily we could deploy it internationally in regions that don't allow Discord. Like, let's say your country doesn't allow Discord. What do you do?
I see.
So if it becomes a mandatory part of the game, then we can't do that, because there's a lot of countries that don't allow certain platforms. So that would mean that particular country would be missing out on a vital aspect of the game. But on top of that, like, even if we integrated something like Discord, how do we moderate it? Like, do we no longer have an obligation? Because even if we integrated something like Discord into our game, are we now liable for all the things that happen, or is Discord liable?
Right.
And therefore, what happens with moderation? If someone reports a threat in Discord, does that go to player support? Does that go to Discord? There's a lot of social and legal issues that, from a convenience perspective, yeah, it sounds great. Oh, cool. We can, we already have this app. Let's just add it to the game. But from a logistics and legal side of view, it's a lot more complicated than that.
That makes sense, and that's kind of what I figured. So, okay, well, so we'll just kind of wait and see.
Yep.
Are there any planned improvements to the clan recruitment tool, player recruitment tools as they stand right now, or overall, do you guys feel like they're working better than they were in the beginning?
It's definitely working better than when we first implemented it. There are some improvements. So a lot of the back-end side is all done through machine learning. And it's a very, very complex AI machine learning tool. So unfortunately, a lot of times these things take time to build up AI machine learning models before it can start, working nominally. And unfortunately, the only way you can get those models is by running it in a live environment. You can't really simulate it behind the scenes and actually recreate millions of inquiries with just a simple Excel spreadsheet. So the machine learning team is a completely different team than the Clash team, and I don't want to misrepresent anything that they may or may not be working on. There are certain aspects of it that we do feel need improvement. A lot of people have been asking for a language filter. That part of what makes it difficult is there's 6,500 languages in the world. So we can't exactly add a drop-down menu for that.
Right, yeah.
On top of it, if we only did supported game languages, like only the languages that are allowed in game.
Okay.
That kind of sucks for, like, let's say if I speak some obscure dialect of something, but I'm playing in English. If I wanted to find people who speak my language, I'm not going to be able to, because it's not one of the supported languages.
Right.
So that's the reason why we didn't really add a manual language filter, is because there's no way to narrow it down to just what either people speak or what the game speaks. So what we did was the machine learning, not only does it look at geographically where you're playing from and where a lot of people are in your clan are playing from, it does look at what the most common language in your chat is. It doesn't monitor your chat. We're not looking at what you're saying or how you say it, or what secrets you're giving to each other or anything like that. It just looks at what kind of language you're using, and the machine learning tool will try to find more matches based on that language. So if you're a clan that speaks Aramaic, it will look at that and see, oh, Aramaic. When you do a search, it'll try to find those Aramaic speakers first.
Wow. Okay. So it's definitely improving then.
Yes.
But it's improving. But it's still improving.
Yeah, but it's not perfect yet.
Okay. Makes sense. All right, good. And perfect. Okay, well, let's move on to some other questions then. Kind of back to the subject matter of the updates and things like that. Okay. Obviously, it's been a while since we've seen a new builder hall, and I'm curious if you guys have a Builder Hall 10 planned, or maybe is there a possibility of like an overhaul to the whole Builder Hall system? Because it feels like there's not that many players playing it at this point, and I'm not sure if you guys are just gonna, dust it or dust it off. Gonna cover it and leave it as it is at Builder Hall 9, or do you guys have plans for it over there?
So our designer, he's actually very, very passionate about Builder Base. I enjoy playing Builder Base, so I don't want to see it die either. And it's not going anywhere. So we're not going to just put a lid on and say, okay, that's all, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to look at what has the most impact on the community. And when it comes to Builder-based stuff, the needle barely ever moves whenever we release new Builder-based content.
Right.
And I'm not talking about revenue. I'm talking about like player activity. I'm talking about like upgrades, the amount of people who start upgrading stuff. Like, it barely moves. And whenever we release new main village content, like, you can see the immediate spikes of activity of people upgrading stuff or wanting to check out the new stuff.
I bet.
Even with the offering of for years people say, why can't you put a 6 builder in the game? I would happily like, you don't need to charge gems for it. We'll happily do quests for it, and we did that.
Right.
And then number one complaint was, why did you make it so many quests? I'd rather just pay gems for it. So
yeah,
there's no win situation on that one. But there's been a lot of suggestions over the years. Add a clan war system for Builder Base.
Mm-hmm.
We can't really do that because clan wars require both people, or with Builder Base, both people need to be online at the same time because it's head-to-head PvP. And regular clan wars on the home village, it's asymmetric, so it doesn't really matter when your opponent's online. You can just do your attacks whenever. So we can't really do a clan war system based on the Builder Base rules. Well, if we remove the head-to-head,
mm-hmm.
then it's no different from normal clan wars. So there's nothing unique about it that would make people want to do it.
True. Unless you made it so that, 2 players from each clan were matched up, player 1 versus player 1, but they didn't have to attack at the exact same time. If player 1 attacked at 8 a.m. his local time, and the other player 1 attacked at 10 a.m. his local time, and they were 2 different times, just the result wasn't revealed until, say, the end of the war. And then the results get revealed, and then they could see who won each match, maybe. Just off the top of my head thought, but...
So there's a few things like that have been proposed.
Okay.
There have been a couple content creators who are very, very passionate about Builder Base with their suggestions. We're not going to be scrapping it. We don't have Builder Base 10 on our roadmap just yet.
Okay.
With all the activity that's been going on with the home village, Town Hall 13, the season challenges, we do recognize that the majority of the player base main interest is the home village. With that said, we are going to be adding a few quality of life improvements to the Builder Base. Many have been requested for a long time, so we should be sharing those in the next few weeks or so.
Okay.
And they're pretty big ones. So
cool.
Hopefully, yeah, it'll make the Builder Base process a little bit more streamlined and a lot more enjoyable. Some of them are very commonsensical, like, why didn't you guys do this earlier? Nope,
Okay. Cool. I mean,
But,
yeah, for me, like, I was just thinking about as far as the ties from the Builder Hall to the home village, like the gearing up of an archer tower, a mortar, things like that, a cannon. If those were more significant, that I would think that would really get people to play Builder Hall. But I guess I don't. I guess I realize you guys want people to play Builder Hall because they want to, not because they have to. Because
So,
elite world players would if they knew they could get an advantage.
Those gear ups are very polarizing, in that if you make them do a chain of things to get a benefit elsewhere, it feels like you're forcing them to do this.
Right.
And that, while on one way it's a free thing, like, you don't need to spend gems to this. You just, upgrade a particular building. It's forcing them to do something that they don't want to do, play an aspect of the game that they don't really want to play, just to get a benefit on the air that they do want to play. And that benefit, it's not really a benefit; it's a trade-off. Like the multi-mortar versus regular mortar. Like, it's always meant to be a trade-off between high damage or longer range. It was never meant to be like one gear up is superior over its previous iteration. And that's also been one of the difficult parts of doing the gear ups, is trying to make them balanced without overpowering them.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, because I can see where that would be. You'd rather have people just playing it because they like it rather than they have to. I've got to grind through this content because I have to have this advantage at the home village
exactly.
type thing. Okay. Makes complete sense. Okay, let's see. On as far as now, here's a question about Legend League.
Okay.
8 attacks. Are we still good with 8 attacks? I get a lot of questions from players who say, is that... And it's funny, I have people say that's too many. Oh my gosh, 8 attacks. I can't get 8 attacks done a day. And then, of course, the majority of the feedback I thought in the early days was 8 attacks isn't nearly enough. We need more than 8 attacks. And I thought I'd ask you guys, are you still happy with 8? Do you think it'll ever change?
If people are complaining that it's too many, and just as many people are complaining that it's too little, that pretty much says it's in the right spot. That's a very cynical way of looking at it. Like, data-wise, 8 attacks, like originally when we first did the Legend League or Operation Blue Skies, we actually had it set to like 10 to 15 attacks. And on paper, like doing that many attacks, it seemed very, very feasible. It was a lot of fun. But then realizing that you have to take 15 defenses and then doing it every single day just to maintain a status quo of your Legend League status, 10 to 15 was just it was too much of a chore. And the goal is, like, we want people to remain competitive, but we don't want to burn them out. And doing more than 8 attacks just had this feeling of like, okay, I could only do this for maybe a week or two, and then it's just too time consuming now. It becomes a chore. And 8 felt like a good sweet spot for that.
Yeah, and I have to say personally, because I do still play Legend League, I would say personally that 8 feels about right. I think that any fewer than 8, I mean, maybe you could have gone to 10, but even then it does start to feel like, oh man, this is going to take a long time. Because I'll usually try to do all of mine together, I'll boost and maybe spend a few minutes between each attack, but I'll try to get them all done in one swing of the day, especially because I'm playing several different accounts.
Now, the only downside to that is, like, if you are someone who just gets all 8 accounts done right away from the start, it does leave you kind of in a bit of limbo. Okay, what am I going to do with Clash of Clans now since I can't do any attacks?
Right.
So that is a pretty crappy feeling. That, because you're in this competitive league, if you got all of your attacks out of the way, well, I can't play this game that I really want to play. And that's something that we are still, like, looking at what are some viable solutions. So, like, whether it's attacking, like builder base, you can attack for no loot, but you can still attack for trophies, or, if we want people to just do vanity attacks where, they don't get any loot or trophies, but they can just still just do attacks as wanted. We're still kind of unsure on that one, but we do understand that, if you want to play the game more, it just does feel like, what if you want to do more clan game challenges or more season challenges? Like, it does leave a pretty bad feeling that I can't keep playing this game that I want to play.
Right, and I have heard an answer to that, and I think I know your answer to this, but people say, well, let me attack myself. Let me attack my own base.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And I think you understand the reason behind that as well.
Oh, yeah, obviously, and I've said that. I mean, it's Clash of Clans, not Clash of Self, and
well, not
or
just
cheat
that,
of
yeah. The idea of, like, how many people would use this to practice for their clan wars.
Yeah.
It just offers too many opportunities for abuse.
Yeah, I agree. So as long as we're on the subject of Legend League, Darian, did you know that Stephanie hearts Dr. Mushtaba? All right, so that is the end of part 1, but yes, believe it or not, we did get Darian to talk about that and much, much more about updates and possible changes, additions to Clash of Clans coming in 2020 and beyond. So if you want to hear the rest of the interview and see the rest of this attack, make sure that you stay tuned, stay subscribed, have notifications turned on, because I will bring you another half of this interview. And let me tell you, this one was nearly 25 minutes. I've got about 25 more minutes of talking to Darian, and really doing my best to ask him every question that I could think of that you guys have given me in recent videos that you guys want the answers to. So we will cover all of that and more. Thank you guys, as always, for sticking around all the way to the end of the episode. You are the true Gala fam, and I appreciate, think about it, and love every single one of you every single day. So get out there, make the best of the rest of your day, be kind of people, animals, and the planet. I'll see you back here again tomorrow for more Full Attacks. Galadon, I'm so disappointed. Not a single question about gym boxes.